Paul Bergin from the Mars Hill blog, which you can find at www.paulbergin, that's paulburgin.blogspot.co.uk. I was on Facebook the other day, and on one of the political postings, there was a posting from one Brexiter. You can find it on you sharing this YouTube video that Brexit supporter posted, which was in response to the 48 questions on to Brexit supporters that the New European did last year. You can find it by typing in 48 questions on Brexit answered, or it's something along those lines. So, to be fair, some of it was very well answered. Even I disagreed with some of those points. The rest of it was, I would say, was wall-to-wall passive aggression or evasive. Now, as someone who voted for Remain and would vote Remain again tomorrow if there was a referendum, I thought I'd answer some of these questions myself. I don't want to spend too long on it. Some of the questions repeat themselves, to be fair, and I want to go through them very quickly, and also it will just take, I don't want to bore you, and it will take time. This isn't me trying to evade the questions, it's me just trying to keep to the general tone of the issues and to answer comprehensively without repeating myself. So, here we go. 48 questions all Leavers had to answer in the New European. First question is, do you accept many people who voted Leave did so without knowing the full terms of Brexit? Well, of course, that's obvious. They did. No group would go through... If you got 17 million voted for Brexit, it is a statistical impossibility that every single one of those 17 million did so having read all the documentation for and against and taken a considered view. It's a statistical impossibility. And I would have said the same if the result went the other way. Number two, do you accept that it is open to people to change their minds if they decide Brexit will in fact harm their own and the country's interests? Well, yes, people do change their minds. If they didn't, political parties in most democracies would always spend generations over a generation in power, always. That's not the case. People do change their minds. Number three, about do you accept there's no monopoly on patriotism and there might be a patriotic case for wishing to reverse the referendum decision if enough people feel it will be damaging to the UK? Yes, and this is the thing that bugs me about Brexit supporters, that they and people on the right, they seem to think they have a monopoly, some of them seem to think they have a monopoly on patriotism. They don't. A lot of people voted to remain for patriotic reasons, believe it or not, because they want the UK to be one of the most financially successful countries in the United Kingdom, and honestly believe, and I tend to believe that to go for Brexit is to make it a financial break case. Now, you may disagree with that view, and you're entitled to. But please recognise that that comes from a sense of patriotism and wanting Britain to do well. So we're not traitors, we're not Ramonas, we're people who care passionately about our country. Number four, do you agree that the government approach can now be defined as Brexit at any cost? And this is where questions start to repeat themselves. The government have not handled this issue well. That's blatantly obvious. They're trying to, and this is similar questions later on, so on this vein, but that this answers, which is that basically the government, some sections of the government, and Theresa May is one of them, are more interested in keeping the right of the hard right, the Conservatives on side, and do more for them than the public duty. And that, or at least that's the strong impression that they give. And that tends to will inevitably skewer how they handle Brexit and how they deal with it. Europe has been the downfall of many a Conservative Prime Minister, and it's clearly a major problem for Theresa May in her time in office. I mean, David Cameron was trying to appease the Conservative right, which is why he called a referendum, and he's now no longer. As a result, he had to resign, and history will not be kind to him, no matter how this quite turns out, simply because he has so divided this country openly. But I will come back to that later, because it's not entirely David Cameron's fault, but he did bring things to a head in a way that he could have avoided. There is stuff about some questions from about 9 to 13, whatever, about where we are as a country in terms of being a what Brexit would mean, in that it could damage the economy, and being a low tax country. Well, of course, that's why the right want Brexit, and they also want the Brexit because if Britain is to, in its efforts to try and keep its economic place in the world, the welfare state will be damaged permanently to the point that it will have to be dismantled, or the Tories hope it will be dismantled, and also the NHS. They can't do that under the EU. This is why they wanted Brexit. That's why the right want it. The hard left want it, because obviously with the EU, you've got as a trading bloc, they see it as putting the brakes on putting any full Marxist policies that they want. It's the hard left and the hard right have never been large sections, and have never been European. Never been pro-European, or only been pro-European when it suited their ideology. So yeah, that answers pretty much a lot of today's questions. 19 to 23 is about justice system. Yesterday, some of our justice system, we have had to rely on Europe. That may be our one connection with Brexit. One of the things that some of the more nastier elements on the hard right really don't like about what the government's doing, and to their credit they're doing this, is trying to protect the rights of EU migrants and enshrine EU law that benefits the UK in UK law. And, to their credit, they're trying to do that. Whether they'll succeed doesn't matter, but at least you've got something comprehensive there. Do I agree that? Yeah, immigrants. It's asking, do we agree about immigrants? Some of my work colleagues were EU migrants. They do incredibly well and are a tremendous asset. That does not denigrate British workers. I'm sure economic migrants from the UK, and again, I've been related to one or two of them. Economic migrants from the UK and other countries are a credit to those countries, and that needs to be recognised. And it needs to be recognised EU migrants are a credit to this country, and shame on those racists who try and say otherwise. Again, there's questions about connected with that about Muslim immigrants. Again, there was a degree of racism in the Leave campaign. Again, there are free Leave campaigns for a start, but a number, it is a fallacy. It's such an obvious fallacy, like saying about any sweeping statement about any group. Not all Muslims are rapist gangs and ISIS terrorist supporters. They're, again, a lot of Muslims are a credit to this country and are good and responsible citizens. You know, you've got nasty elements in any group in society, in any religious group, in any social group, in any political group. And to, you know, try and virtue signal on this, or to make such racially charged sweeping statements, is denigrate. It really, people like that really are disgrace to this country. But the less said about, you know, those people, the better. I'm talking about the hard UKIP types, the Britain First types. I think right across the board, even a lot of people who voted Brexit would be like, yeah, they're pretty disgusting individuals, really. It's then about other from 30 to about 35, but of a trading group, we do need to be part of a trading group. Even Liam Fox recognised this. This is why he's trying to tie us in with the Pacific trading group halfway across the road, which to me is like Australia being in Eurovision Song Contest. It's like, yeah, but it kind of doesn't. I don't know. It seems a fallacy, but you know, we can't quite go it alone. For some reasons I have. If we have a hard Brexit, we'll end up being an economic basket case, or you know, our social state will be dismantled. In which case, there'll be huge gaps between the wealthy and poor. That's you know, this is why a lot of us are against it. The best we can do is either rejoin, but you can't quite do that without, you know, you'd need a second referendum, and you would also, but more importantly, you would need vast public support. Whatever we do will need more than just over 50%. The best thing to do is perhaps some kind of soft Brexit, but that would, or something, or perhaps people change their minds, which I hope, and just hope for that. But we must avoid a hard Brexit at all costs, because it's really damaging. Yeah, there was stuff about the border between Ireland and UK, but I think that's been dealt with. 48. Do you accept Brexit has divided the country across nations, regions, and generations? Yes. But to be fair, I think that's been there under the surface already. You know, culture wars within the UK didn't start last year, or 18 months ago, rather. They've been under the surface before. I mean, why do Mail and Guardian people tend to sneer at each other? It's, you know, it's always been there. This brought it to a head, accelerated it, and brought it to the surface. But it's always been there. This has kind of accelerated the process and made it more open. So in many ways we are a very culturally divided country, but socially, I would say, rather than on other terms. And that's basically it. I know there are no neat solutions in what I've said. But I think the bottom line is we need to avoid this hard Brexit, but we need to find some way of putting forward a solution that unites most of the country. I don't quite know what that is, but we need to move. You know, this is what we need to do. If there's another referendum on the same issue, I'll vote Remain. I will always vote for a soft Brexit. But if we have a hard Brexit, then, you know, this country is permanently damaged. And as the UK, it will be damaged as well. We might well see the breakup of the UK. And that's basically it. Okay, thank you.